Hey everybody, welcome to day 2. I'm back. I was here earlier, but I'm back because I actually want to talk about the day 2 devotional, which is a holy habitation. I spoke a little bit earlier about, God dwelling in us. It's in him that we live and we move and we have our being. In order for us to be able to successfully do that, though, we have to give God a place to dwell, a holy place to dwell, a holy habitation, and so within our hearts and our minds and our souls and our spirits, we can build a holy habitation where we can receive a full manifestation of God's divine presence and not just a visitation. What do I mean? A lot of times we'll go to church and we'll say, oh, God moved today. The Spirit of God moved today, and God visited us today. But I believe that if every person that is a child of God, if we focus on specifically building God a house to live in, to dwell in, a place within our hearts, to where every time, whether we go to church, whether we're on the street, whether we're in the grocery store, when God wants to move and use us or move within us, we're already ready to go. It's why? Because we've created a place for him to dwell within our heart, within our mind, within our soul, within our spirit, that he can just speak to us and boom, whatever he wants to do is done. So we receive a full manifestation of his divine presence and not just a visitation. Oh, this was great today. But what about every day? God is always moving. He's always active. He's always doing things. The question is can he do them through us? Is our heart right? Is our mindset right? What's going on within our soul? What's going on within our spirit that would keep us from being able to be used by God at any point in given time that he would so choose to use us? Holy habitation. It's in him that we live and move and have our being, but we have to be in him, and we always have to make sure that we are in him. One of the things that I wrote in this book, and I just want to share briefly with you, it says, so how do you think God feels when we as Christians ignore the condition of our spiritual habitation? How do you think God feels when we become complacent in our worship and in our walk with him? Can you imagine how he feels when we invite him into a habitation that is not prepared to receive him? When we invite him to reside in a habitation that is filled with the stench of our humanity? When I wrote this particular passage, I began to think about how you can go to a person's house. They'll invite you over and you go to their house, but when you get there and they open the front door, all you smell is just ugliness, some stench. It could be trash, it could be laying around, something rotten in the garbage, something rotten in the refrigerator, whatever. Then you begin to look at things and you're stepping over things. The house is not clean. There's dust everywhere. There's dirt everywhere. It's stuff on the floor, spilled stuff that was never cleaned up. They didn't care about the habitation. They didn't care about the place where they live enough to clean it up before they invited you there. They just invited you there and expected you either A, to not care, or B, to act like you didn't see it. And so how do you think God feels when we do that same thing? We know that there are things that we shouldn't be doing, or that there are things that we are doing that are not pleasing to him, and we just continue to act like that they're not there, or we act like that God is not supposed to see it, or we use excuses like, well, God knows my heart. The Bible does say that he knows the intent of our heart. And if God knows the intent of our heart, that could be also very dangerous to us if he knows the intent of our heart and we're not doing anything to try to clear that up. So when we talk about a holy habitation, we want to give God a place to dwell. And he's not going to want to be there with the stench of our humanity. He's not going to want to live within us when we refuse to clear out those things that are not like him. When we just invite him in and we're like, okay, God, well, you do the cleaning. We have to allow him to do it. We have to want him to do it. And then we have to make sure that we do our part, to stay clean, to make sure that everything stays immaculate. It's not an easy thing to do. But we have to do our part. God is not a housekeeper in that sense. Well, he came in and he cleaned me up. Yes. Well, once we know better, we have to do better. And so we have to make sure that we do our part so that God has always got his part taken care of, you know. But it's important, especially in this day and time, that we maintain our temples, that we do what we need to do in order to be able to be used by God. We, at any given moment, God can want to use us, whether it's in the grocery store, whether we are getting our car fixed somewhere, whether we just happen to be walking down the street. But if we are not, we haven't created that holy habitation for God to be able to dwell in, then we can't always be looking for him just to say, okay, you know, I can use you right here because you're ready to roll. You know, not going to happen, you know. And so if we really want to be used by God, we have to give him something to work with. You know, we don't want him coming in, stumbling over stuff. And same for us. We shouldn't want to be continually stumbling over the different things that we have to deal with in our lives, whether it's something that we're doing, something that has been inflicted upon us, or whether it's just something that we can't seemingly let go of or get out of our head. You know, whatever it is, you know, I encourage you today just to take a self-inventory and say, hey, Lord, you know, if there's anything that's in my life that shouldn't be there, if it's anything that I'm doing that's keeping your spirit from speaking to me, that's not allowing this habitation in my heart, in my spirit, to be all that you want it to be and all that you desire of me, then help me to see what it is and help me remove it so that I can be effective in everything that you have called me here in this earth to do, because that's what it's all about. It's not about us. It's about him. It's about his will. It's about what he wants to do with us and through us. And so in order for us to be effective, we have to be open, and we have to be open to building God a place that he can dwell in. It's in him that we live and move and have our being, but he dwells within us, and we have to make sure that we have given him a great place to dwell. You all be blessed. Have an awesome day on today. Day 3 is coming. Make sure you get ready for it. If you haven't shared the information about the book, be sure to do so. Undaunted. It will bless your life. God bless you, and thanks again for tuning in. Have a great day.